Australia. Okay, então vamos ouvir a você.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mic test. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, can hear you.
All right, so welcome. We'll be starting in another 3 to 5 minutes. We just want to give a few more participants time to join in. So kindly bear with us. Let's give it another 5 minutes. Then you can start the webinar as soon as we have a sizable number of participants. It was very well registered with the webinar. So we are expecting at least 200 people to join. Thank you. All right, all right. Good morning, good morning. Karibuni, welcome to this very important session that we are just about to have. We're going to discuss a very important topic around capability development for our schemes. Before we begin, please let us know where you're joining us from. Feel free to drop a text on the chat box. Just go to the chat box and drop us a text there. Let us know where you are joining us from. It could be organization, it could be the city where you're joining us from. Let's engage. My chat box is empty. My chat box is quiet. I can't see anything. Great, Zambia. Welcome, Luanshia. Most welcome. City from Nairobi, Sama. Welcome. Let's keep the chat going, people. Let's keep the chat going. Stanley from University of Kabianga. Welcome. Karibu. Mauritius. Fantastic. Thank you for joining in. Kigali, Rwanda, Zamara. Welcome. Daniel Njiru, you're most welcome. Karibuni. We will be starting in a few minutes. Let's get to know who's joining us today. Lab Fund. Welcome, Morris from Kabianga University. Karibu sana. Thank you for making time to join us. We really appreciate. Thank you. I see people are still joining in. Mercy from Machakos. Don from South Sudan. Thank you for joining in. Thank you very much. We are honored to have you on board. Very honored indeed to have you on board. So we will be starting in a few minutes. You could also feel free to type in what your expectation is for this session. What is it that you're hoping to take away today? It is a very important session. So what are you expecting to be able to take away? Thank you, Johnson. Thank you from Uganda. Thank you from Upper Hill. Asante sana, Pauline. Thank you, Angela from Uganda. Most welcome, Johnson. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. So Godwin, as soon as you're ready, you can fire up your slides and we can begin. Thank you for being able to join in. Asanteni sana for making time to join in. So as we begin, I just want to give you some context about the pension landscape in Kenya and what is expected. Reverend Ngere, karibu sana, most welcome. So who can estimate the amount of money that is within the pension space in Kenya? Let me get some educated answers on the chat box. Some assumptions. Someone is looking to get better at governance and decision making. Thank you, Amy. So I just asked a question. Who can tell me what is the size of the pension sector in Africa? What is the size of the assets under management that are being controlled by the different pension schemes in Africa? Please drop your chat. Let's see if there's an educated guess. Anyone? Just to let you know that in Kenya, we are handling educated guess from AI. Very nice. 2.5 million, 2.5 trillion, about 3 trillion. Daniel, you're correct. We actually have 2.5 trillion Kenya shillings as assets under management, which represents about 14% of Kenya's GDP. So this conversation is around a very important topic and talking to a very significant segment of Kenya. So to start off this conversation officially, allow me to invite our Executive Director, Mr. Godwin Simba, to be CS Godwin Simba, to be able to kick off the session for us. CS Godwin, please take it off.
All right. Thank you very much, Linus. Let me just confirm my slides are up.
Yes, they are.
All right. Thank you very much, Linus, and good morning, everyone, from wherever you are joining in from. And we want to thank you for making time to join us for this webinar. Indeed, it's still pretty early in the year, and we still want to wish us the very best in 2026 as we set off this year. And in my view, we want to wish all of us a prosperous one as we kick off in February as well. So our webinar this morning is basically to just underscore the fact that we are living in a digital world, and therefore there is a lot of transformation that is happening from the pension space, the technology space, and also from the members' perspective towards technology. And one of the critical areas that we do have within the core of our member engagement or our member communication strategies is how to empower them in terms of ensuring that they have all the tools, all the knowledge and information for them to make the correct decisions in retirement. So basically for us today, we want to walk you through our thought process around digital capacity building for pension schemes, which we believe will be insightful, and also it will help you also consider different alternatives when it comes to engagement with our members. To start us off, I want to put in some color into what we do as at Finnet, and we have been in the forefront of driving governance consulting, pension advisory, as well as also employee benefits within the pension market space. And I believe you have come across our brand, especially when it comes to consultancy services for pension schemes, advisory. We do have an insurance brokerage as well, which helps in terms of employee benefits and insurance risk intermediation. What we also basically known as much for is the aspect of training, our capacity building within the pension space. And we have been able to empower quite a number of pension funds, public institutions, members when it comes to aspects to do with governance, pension management, financial literacy, as well as also things to do with risk and investments. So for us, our core pillars would be to offer governance advisory services to pension funds, to undertake training and capacity building and financial literacy, to offer employee benefits, and as well as also to be able to support where need be when it comes to assessing any risks that may come in so far as insurance is concerned. And this morning, we also have a team that is behind Finnet. We are a team of around 20, between 17 staff, one staff in Uganda, we have one staff in Zambia, and around 14 in Kenya. And ideally, you would appreciate that our journey has been through the passions and skills of the people that we have, and also the network that we have within the context of Finnet. Maybe just to showcase our track record in terms of what we've done so far for the years that we've been in existence. Within our database, we've been able to train more than 5,000 professionals in the Kenyan market, in Ugandan market, in Zambian market, Ghana. We've trained as far as Nigeria, and also we've been able to do benchmarking and best practices to different pension funds. We've covered more than 30 countries since inception, where we link pension funds that have that are well established within the global space, with also the pension funds from the African context, for them to share knowledge and be able to understand the best practice that could be able to scale their current either service offering, be it on investments, be it on governance, as well as also in terms of digitization. And within that context, we've been able to engage with pension funds whose assets are more than $100 billion across African countries. And within our space, we've been also able to serve more than 500 plus pension funds. We've done more than 100 public institutions in terms of either advisory, training, and engagement. And we do this in light of the fact that we operate within a regulatory framework, and therefore we do a lot of our engagements in the manner that is required by the law. And therefore, that gives us some of the insights that we are able to present this morning within the context of what we think would be the new frontiers in terms of transforming the pension capacity building in Africa. So today's conversation would largely help us give us a snapshot on what the regulatory framework is ideally looking out for in terms of engagement or capacity building, and also what are these digital learning journeys that are addressing the current systematic challenges that we do have. And we hope that by the end of this engagement, we'll showcase to you one of the platforms that we believe will be a game changer, or sort of a revolution within the digital framework. So allow me to just put some color into the expectations within the pension sector. I do appreciate that within this framework, you will note that the current regulatory framework in Kenya and most African countries are almost homogeneous, and therefore the expectations in terms of good governance, in terms of investments, member engagement cuts across. So as I present this morning, it's basically drawing also the experiences from different other countries that we believe will be necessary for us to highlight. So in terms of the regulatory framework, we have really grown within the context of the pension sector, especially across Africa. And Africa is emerging as one of those frontiers in terms of rapid growth in terms of pension assets. And they largely is driven by the fact that we have a huge informal sector in the African context. And also there's acceleration by public and governments from a policy perspective to enhance the coverage within the pension space. And primarily in Kenya as well, you will see that growth. I think Kenya, we are talking now around between we are talking about around 2.5 trillion of Kenyan shillings in terms of pension assets. And the growth has been almost at 15% average every year. And that has also been, kind of replicated across the different markets. But in our context, we do appreciate that we have regulatory framework in Kenya. We also have the governance guidelines that provides for systematic training and member engagement within the context of the pension funds. And within that framework, the expectations within the regulators is that members would need to be trained on member education, on pre-retirement engagement, as well as also the trustees who come on board into the pension funds. They require continuous training. Remember that most trustees who are in the space of the pension sector or who are drawn into the pension funds, most of them come from different other experiences or different backgrounds in terms of their skills, and therefore they require training. In Kenya, for example, it's a requirement that a trustee must undertake a mandatory trustee development program within 6 months. And within that framework, also, it's required that the trustee should be able to undertake continuous professional development programs. That requirement also would require that we do have members being engaged at least on an annual basis on a member education and also on financial literacy programs. But then what has been the current training practices that we've seen in the current market context? We are seeing quite a lot of engagements from the trustees level, trustees going into training frameworks that are compulsory, and they do either 1 week programs and they get certification, and they continuously do also ongoing trainings. But we've noticed that for the last many years, as a traditional way of engagement, most of these trainings are normally physical, both for members and also for the trustees. You'll find that average, you'll find 15% online, like now webinars, and also hybrid between webinars and physical engagements. We rarely see self-study mode, especially for trainings. And that is an area that with the advent of digitization, it's a focus that needs to be looked into. And most of the induction programs, you find most of them are for pension funds, and they are driven by regulatory frameworks. But when you look at the participation rates, and you will agree with me, if you're a trustee in this webinar, or you've engaged with the members of pension funds, trustee attendance for trainings ideally would range from 60 to 75%, as most of them are committed in their either sponsors engagements, and therefore availing themselves for a 1 week engagement may be a tricky situation for most of them. And even for our members, when we call our members for a training, you will notice that even for an AGM, you'll notice that the participation rates for members is quite low. For most schemes, they report between 15 to 30%. Those who show up for a physical member engagement. And therefore, that brings into context the issue of our access, our reach to these members within that framework. But then also for the trustees that we have within the confines of pension schemes, you'll notice that between 70 to 80% may be professional trustees. When you talk about professional trustees, they are trustees that ideally have undertaken a related program, either dealing with corporate governance, dealing with finance, law, investments, because all those are really linked into the core of pension funds. But in most cases, you'll find that we do have trustees who volunteer, largely because of either the representative model we have or elective models we have. So we still have also gaps as far as the depth of understanding of pension or of pension matters within the trustee framework that we do have. But then also, when you move to the aspects of cost structures, you'll appreciate in most cases, we spend close to 80,000 to 150,000 shillings per training, per trustee on average. That's for a local program. For a global program, it will go as high as 1.8 to 3,000 US dollars. And when you look at now for individual members, whenever you call for a training and you have to incur a cost for a member, you are spending between 5,000 to maybe around 10,000 Kenyan shillings. So small schemes may not be able to budget substantially, but we have seen increasingly that cost is attributed to these kind of trainings. But then the effectiveness in terms of all these trainings, we see a bit of challenges when it comes to how effective this model is, especially the physical workshops. One is that potentially once a training has been done for 1 week, chances are that unless there is a continuous engagement in terms of refresher courses, then we may probably have a challenge in terms of retention. Secondly, we do have, or we spend a lot of money in terms of training trustees, training members, but we cannot track and also have a library of the information that ideally we should be able to refer to. So we spend quite a lot. We train one trustee out of 8 in a particular program, but the circulation effects of that information to the whole trustee board becomes a challenge. And therefore we have a documentation challenge, retention challenge, and also knowledge transfers. So the key gaps that we see is that we may probably have challenge in terms of scaling a training. Case in point, if a trustee A has gone for a training, for example, on risk management, or 2 trustees have been recommended for that training, by the time the trustees are coming back, they'll be very knowledgeable about risk. But then there'll be another 6 who probably would have benefited from the same training. However, the information that the few have gotten may not scale to the others effectively because of the gaps that we do have. And therefore, that brings in the issue of sustainability as well. Just to progress, would be to note that in the Kenyan context, you will have framework just on a high level, drawing from the regulatory provisions, the statutory trainings that we have. For example, in Kenya, we do have 6 months deadline for trustees to undertake a training program. They must be aware or knowledgeable on areas of law, pension funding, investment principles, governance, and risk management. And there are also higher standards that would they will need to demonstrate in terms of being independent in their decision making. The provisions also for RBA good governance framework requires that there must be ongoing development for trustees. There must be a formal evaluation for the board and the trustees, and within that evaluation, there must be also continuous professional development program. But then under Section 1920 of the same governance guidelines, there must be leadership, integrity, commitment, and good character requirements, which ideally will be able to demonstrate a trustee of good standing. But at the same time, there must be professionalism, and trustees must be qualified, and they must be, the competency framework should be highly inched towards leadership and good governance as well as risk management. There's also provision for compliance and reporting that we must be able to disclose the governance disclosures in our annual reports, indicating, for example, the trustee mix, the meetings they've attended, the evaluations they've done, the trainings that the members have undertaken, as well as also all other engagements that may be geared towards member stakeholder engagements. And therefore, the regulatory framework is very clear insofar as what we need to do. I'll also draw to your attention the fact that there are provision on member education, rights, and governance participation within the retirement benefits regulations. For example, there must be member days that have to be organized. There are specific topics that the regulator has proposed. However, these topics could be on benefits, financial management, retirement planning, and also there must be retirement seminars. There is also provision for communication, that there must be systems to be able to ensure that there is clear flow of communication to the members. And there is provision that members must be able to be reached within their needs. So, for example, if you have members who are not able to read and write, there must be channels that are appropriate for them. So for any pension fund globally, there is always the right for participation for the members. There is rights for engagement in terms of the AGMs and also access to information. And all this will bring into the context the fact that at any point there must be trustee disclosures and also compliance engagement within the context of the scheme. So what are the challenges that we are seeing in terms of the current framework that we've engaged? As I mentioned before, we are looking at all aspects of quick turnaround in terms of certification, but then now the issue of application becomes a challenge. Continuity, all trustees normally have a 5-year term in Kenya now. I know Uganda is 5 years as well. I'm not sure for Zambia. I'm sure, I guess it's almost another 5 years for trustees. And when the trustees leave, there's a turnover which creates also knowledge transfers and gaps. Most trustees are busy within their framework, and therefore sometimes it's difficult to be able to measure up in terms of the hours they are able to have minimum trainings. As well, there is no library of information that any new trustee is able to continuously self-study themselves, and there is no evidence of competency, especially on ongoing assessments, to be able to ensure that there is transition of knowledge and the application of that knowledge. But then, of course, it's costly to train trustees and members. So at the end of the day, if there are inefficiencies in terms of the framework that we adopt, then of course we are not making good use of resources that we have been able to engage the members. So on the other note is just to note that since most of the engagements are physical, that means then we are only able to reach a few members, and sometimes we have to invest a lot of money in terms of logistics to engage the members or the trustees to be able to attend trainings. Whenever you have members who are geographically distributed, there is also difficulty in coordinating all of them. I know most of the pension funds here, we find ourselves going for trainings around the country to just engage members one-on-one. And sometimes it also brings in the issue of, difficulty in, the travel and the logistics that is involved is quite substantial. But then also the cost barriers, which I've mentioned, and also the documentation gaps are much more pronounced. And therefore, we need to ask then ourselves, then how do we ensure that we have cost-effective frameworks, frameworks that can scale and also that can bring efficiency within the framework that we have. And today, just to summarize, it is that we are now trying to reinvent as Finnet within the service portfolio that we have, transitioning from physical engagements, travels, logistics, going to engage with the clients, moving all the trustees to boardrooms, workshops, to now an evolution, which now we are calling it Finndemy, which is now bringing in the issue of continuous learning closer to the member. Remember, any pension fund, the objective is to bring the services closer to the member, and the member should be able to feel the services of the boards of trustees within their framework, and not them coming to where the pension officers are. We should be able to go to where the members are. You cannot do that without technology. You cannot do that without innovating. You cannot do that without having a framework where there's continuous engagement, and the point of touch will be now using the technology. If you look at across the African continent, most members have digital smartphones, almost 80% of them. So that means one of the things that you can look at in terms of scalability and reaching most of your members is to ask yourself, do you have an e-learning platform, a digital platform that you can engage? And this digital platform should be aligned to the needs of the member, should be aligned to the regulatory framework, and also within the budgets that you have. And most importantly, it should be able to give you data, real-time tracking. For example, if you spend some money on a trustee, how are you able to ensure that the same is translated into value for money? Can you do assessments, for example, for your members when they attend a training to be able to confirm that they have been adequately trained? And then you can attach value to that. So members, I think that is what we are looking at in terms of trying to demystify the new frontiers of engagement, of participation of our members, but then also a cost-effective framework where we should be able to have more value as we engage our members. So basically, that is the introduction of the market landscape. And I believe that as we go deeper into this webinar, we should be able to get more details and get to be unpacked on the more solutions that we do propose to the different pension funds within the Kenyan and the African context. So I want to hand over back to Linus, who is our head of global trainings, to be able to moderate the session, the next session, in terms of unpacking what we believe will be a critical pathway for transition for your pension fund from traditional trainings to now digital fast engagement for our members. Over to you, Linus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CS Godwin. That was fantastic. Let's put some fire on the chat, some claps, some emojis for Mr. Godwin for that introduction that he's given us, highlighting the landscape and the capability landscape currently as it is constituted within the pension space. So let's drop some claps there on the chat, please. And as you do that, we will be now progressing to the next section and would want to get a feel from your experience how it has been running trainings for your schemes based on your strategic plans and your objectives. So I'd like for us to run a poll at this point. We are going to run a short poll just to be able to get a feel of your experience. So I'll ask the poll to be enabled now. Take a minute and fill out this poll. Please go ahead and drop the poll. I'm not seeing the fire there. I'm not seeing the claps for Mr. Godwin. Can we have the poll, please? Thank you. So we are waiting for the poll to be enabled so that you can get a feel of your experience. I hope you can see the poll on your side. Please confirm that you can see the poll on your side. I hope that the poll is visible. Kindly take a minute and fill out the poll. So for those who are not able to see the poll, assuming you're not able to see the poll on your side, there is a more button at the top, on the top bar, where you have the chat, the Q&A, you have a raised hand, those icons there. There is one that reads more. Please click on more and then click on polls. You should be able to see the poll there. Thank you. Thank you. We can see the responses coming in. The poll is also on the charts. You can scroll up the chart and you'll be able to see the poll. Responses are coming in fast. I'm hoping that everyone is able to get access to the poll, either on the chat or on the more section on the icons that are on the top bar. Next to chat, Q&A, people. On your right, towards the right, you should see more, then click on poll. All right, 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes for us to finish up with the poll. 2 more minutes. Two more minutes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So let's see what the results are saying, what your experience has been like. All right. So your results are in. Form 34A is in. We can be able to look at what your experience has been in terms of your training endeavors from a traditional point of view in terms of traditional workshops. From what I can see, in terms of your polls, you say, what is your estimated cost of educating 100 to 500 members? So 29% of you say that it is below 500. and only 29% also say it's above a million Kenya shillings. With regard to the question on the perceived effectiveness of the current member training programs, most of you feel that they are not effective. Only 20% feel that it is moderate. It is 3. However, majority felt that it is not adequate at 8%. With regard to the third question, where we asked what is the largest number of education programs that you have successfully organized for a scheme, most of you have organized trainings for less than 500 attendees. I don't know whether that is because of the size of the scheme or because of budget limitations. And only 20% have organized trainings above 1,000, 500 to 1,000 members. The areas that you feel member education in your scheme is required most, the highest score was on savings and investing, followed by pre-retirement training. The lowest scored area was member rights and pension contribution structures. Finally, how often does your scheme currently conduct structured member education? Majority is twice a year, once or twice a year, and a few of you doing it quarterly. So you can see from this poll that the greatest need is in on question 4, the greatest need is in pre-retirement training and saving and investments. And that is consistent with what we see from the way members are making decisions about their financial decisions. Very poor financial decisions are made by most of our members. So at this juncture, I'd like to welcome Mr. Keter. Mr. Keter, can you hear me? As we wait for Mr. Keter to join in, I'd like to also give an opportunity to anyone who would like to share their thoughts on what they think about how training is currently being done. What is your thought around current mode of member education? How effective do you feel it is? Anyone, feel free to unmute yourself and share your thoughts and your experience on the current structure or the current mode of member education. Do you feel it's effective? Anyone who would want to share their thoughts? Please unmute. You can just speak. All right, I can see some thoughts coming in the chat. All right, so at this point, we want to progress to the next section. But before we do that, allow me to quickly show you where Finndemy, how different Finndemy is, which is our digital learning platform, from the traditional training platforms. As has been alluded, Most of the traditional training happens in one-time workshops where a scheme will organize a 1 day, 2 day, or a 1 week program and members come and go. However, Finndemy gives you continuous learning journey from foundation all the way to mastery. And this information is accessible to the member throughout the year. Another key difference is where content is generic. Mostly when you look at content that is delivered in these workshops, it cuts across the different levels of professional levels and career levels. However, Finndemy has content that is well segmented for various members of the scheme and that addresses the different stages of life they are in and the different stages of retirement readiness they may be at. Of course, cost saving is a big thing when you look at digital learning versus traditional learning, where you save up to 90% of the cost when training is delivered digitally as compared to traditional one-time workshops. Reporting and analytics becomes a very big driver for Finndemy or online training because reports are real-time and analytics are available to be able to see how well your content is being consumed and understood, unlike when we look at traditional training where it is all manual. The beauty with Finndemy is that content is continually updated and it remains relevant as compared to traditional training. And member coverage is also very high when you're looking at delivering the training through a platform like Finndemy, because it is easy to scale at low cost using technology as compared to having all your members congregate in a venue or in a location for training. So for me, I'd like to be able to give you an overview of what the price plans look like before we look at a demo of Finndemy as a platform. So let's assume that you want to be able to use Finndemy to train 100 of your members on pre-retirement planning as one learning path. Traditionally, it would cost you about 50,000 Kenya shillings or thereabout per member, which would equate to 5 million Kenya shillings, training 100 of your members on pre-retirement training as one learning path. However, when you do the same with Finndemy, what you get is 450,000. You only spend 450,000 per year to train the same 100 members, and they have access to this content throughout the year. Unlike the traditional workshop, where they will come into a venue and they will get the training for a day, 2 days, or a week, and they go away. For Finndemy, they will have access to this content for a whole year. So as you can see, 450,000 compared to 5 million is more than 90% saving. Not to mention the additional benefits that come with being able to get real-time analytics of who has been able to access what, who has been able to complete the course. You can even have quizzes to be able to test the level of understanding and all that. If a scheme decides to onboard members on 2 learning paths, what we call learning paths is equal to a course, then the scheme will spend 750,000 for members to be able to access those 2 courses or those 2 learning paths for the whole year. So the 2 parameters for pricing on Finndemy is 1, the number of courses or the learning paths that a scheme onboards on, and number 2, the number of seats or members that are onboarded on that on that learning path. So we will have a time towards the end to engage on a Q&A around questions around any pricing are welcome. Feel free to drop them in the chat as well as you go along. So when we talk about learning paths or courses, as I mentioned, you have 5 learning paths in Finndemy currently. The first learning path is for pension trustees and board members that has 14 courses. And this targets board members, trustees, and governance teams. The second learning path is for pension professionals, whether it's secretariats or fund administrators. There are 16 courses are already inbuilt in Finndemy. The third learning path is retirement planning courses, 11 of them that would target pre-retirement, pre-retirees, financial advisors, and scheme members generally. The fourth learning path is personal finance that has 10 courses, and this is open to all staff so that people are able to manage their finances better and make better financial decisions. Finally, Finndemy has 11 courses on career development that are aimed at professional growth and leadership development. A lot more courses are also being onboarded as we speak, so it will have a full library of courses. I'd like now to invite Professor Ogola to give us a strategic perspective on where a digital platform like Finndemy fits in within a pension scheme. Prof, over to you. Prof, can you hear me? All right, Prof is having a bit of technical challenges as he's trying to sort out the technical challenges. We will move on to the next section where we will now give you a live demo of the platform just to show you what Finndemy looks like and what it actually entails from a cost point of view and a reporting point of view. So I'd like to invite one of my colleagues to be able to take us through that section. And this is Clement, who is our product manager. So Clement, please take us through the product.
Morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Okay.
Yes,
so
you are.
Let me share my screen so that you can see what the product is, how it looks like, and you can get the gist of what it is you're trying to do here. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, your screen is on.
Okay, so this is Finndemy. Just go to finndemy.com. That's the link. Yeah, it's that simple. Finndemy.com, N. That's the link. So once you are here, this is what you will see, regardless of whether you're logged in or not. So invest in yourself, explore 5 custom curated learning paths, top categories, the same categories. These are the learning paths: pension trustees, pension professionals, retirement planning, personal finance, career development. And there's also an option to share your expertise if you're a trainer. Yeah, so this is how it looks, the landing page. And these are the courses. So as you can see, there are some tags here: career development, pension professionals, pension trustees, and board members. But even before I go to here, allow me to go back to the top of the page. This is where you land once you've gone to finndemy.com. And just here at Explore Courses, I hope you can see Explore Courses, the learning path. This is where they have been listed, and they have been split into 3 levels: foundational, development, and mastery. Retirement planning, pension trustees and board members, same 3 levels. Pension professionals, 3 levels. Personal finance, 3 levels. Career development, 3 levels. So that's how they've been split. If we click pension trustees and board members, for example, you can see we found 14 courses available for you, pension trustees and board members. And you can see these are the courses: identifying key stakeholders, investment funds, innovative and effective 21st century boards. Yeah, they're quite a number. And yeah, these are all the courses available here. And as you can see on the menu here on the left, there is there are options here you can choose which courses you want to view, development or foundational mastery. Yeah, the filters, they are called filters, and you can filter according to which categories you want to look at. If you look at retirement planning, for example, oh, by the way, these learning paths are not set in stone. Your organization can customize them according to which courses you want to add, which courses you don't want to include in your package. Therefore, retirement planning, understanding income drawdown and annuities and pensions, retirement benefits options, retirement transition, unlocking your retirement journey, estate planning. So the courses are already there. So allow me now to show you how you actually get to learn the courses. Once you have logged in, Finndemy, yeah, I'm already logged in. So I'll just show you in this section. If you have not logged in, the login button will be somewhere here at the top right of the screen. Because I've already logged in, like it's also appear like this for you. You just go to dashboard. And this is where you find your account details. Home, my accounts. This is my name. I'm into Taker, and then it shows the courses you have, completed, certificates, and points. Of course, if you are a new user, most of these will be zero, like completed certificates. They will all be zero until you actually start the courses. So your courses. Okay, something else I should mention at this point is that if you have been enrolled by the organization, once you log in, you will find courses already there available. But if you create an account, only the 3 courses will be available for you. Mine have 11 because I'm under the company team. That's why I've already been enrolled onto these 11 courses. I can see course progress is here. It shows you how you are progressing through the courses. And then if you scroll down to the bottom here, now this is where you can actually view the individual lessons and of every course. For example, let's try this one, effective ethical leadership and conflict resolution. Yeah, this is the course itself, ethical leadership and conflict resolution. You can see course overview, key topics, and then the course content, the lessons now, they've been listed here. So lesson 1, lesson 2, you can see it has been marked complete. Let me move on to lesson 11 so that you can actually see how it works. These are all videos, by the way. There's nothing for you to read, it's just videos. We are trying to make the learning as easy as possible. Yeah, you can see the videos already here. If I click play, I don't think you will hear the sound because I haven't enabled the sound. Yeah. So there's a section here where you can find your doubts. If the lesson is having an issue, you can just communicate directly here, either on WhatsApp or on the chat box here. And one thing worth noting is that, as you can see, the mark complete option is not available until you actually watch the whole video. So once you have completed watching, once you've completed watching, you can see the mark complete option is available. Now let's mark it complete so that we can see. You can see it's loading. So after you have completed a course, you will be brought here and you'll be shown you have earned a certificate. Let's download it and see how it looks. So yeah, once you've completed, that's how it happens. And this is how the certificate looks like. certificate of completion. This is to certify that payment has successfully completed the course. This is your name, the course name, and the date and time. All right, so as I've showed you, you can watch the videos, but something that you see in the reporting framework is that it can actually be seen how much time you spent on the course. So if users or if the members, they just go clicking all courses marked complete, you can be able to tell how much time they actually spent on the course, and that's what will show the results on how the course progression has been done, if they actually studied or if they have skipped through the lesson. All right, so that's it on my end. I don't think there's anything else I'm supposed to say here. Now, allow me to invite our head of technology here at Finnet, a guy called Okiri, who's now going to show you how the reporting looks like for you HR managers or even the team management. If you want to see how actually members are progressing with the courses, that's what George is now going to show you. George, you're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Clement, for the introduction. My name is George Okiri. I am the lead developer at Finnet, and I'd like to show you the reporting side of things on Finndemy, which will help address 3 key issues for stakeholders. Number 1 would be, are our learners actively engaging with the platform, and are the courses effective? And the third one would be, where do we need to intervene or improve based on the insights that you'll get from the reporting module. So let me just proceed and share my screen. So is my screen visible? Yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So basically, we look at 3 types of reports. Number 1 would be the overall reporting. The second one would be the course level reporting and the individual learner reports. So we'd start with the overall report, which, as you can see, would give us the overall overview of our students to see whether who was enrolled, who has started courses, and who was not enrolled. So this would give the admins an overall overview of enrollments and progress, basically an overview. And the second part of reporting would be the course level reports. Let me just load that. Yes, so basically course level reports would help admins evaluate how effective each course is. And here we can see enrollments, completion rates, and progress levels. So if a course has high enrollments and completions, that would be indicatable at a glance. Let me just show you how that happens. So you'll select the course you have from the list of courses you have in your group and select the course. Then from that, we can be able to see a list of your users with the course time they've spent on the website, the date completed, and the date enrolled. And all these are exportable. You can export to CSV. You can also export to Excel sheets to provide insights to stakeholders. Then the third part of reporting would be on the individual learning report, where admins can see which courses have been assigned and what has been completed per student, that is. So we'll go back to group management. Just a minute, then go to reports and look at the progress. So this will help us track individual learner progress across the site. So you can just come and select your users. There's an autocomplete button. to help you select which user you want to view reports for. And that should be now should be able to populate a comprehensive report against the learner for all the courses that they are mapped to. So you can be able to see an overall course progress and also the individual lessons, whether it's complete or not complete, as well as the percentage. And you can also be able to view the certifications, if available, for the respective learners. So that's it basically from me. You can raise any questions if there are. Thank you. Over to you, Linus.
Thank you, George, for that overview, and Clement. At this point, I'd like us to engage now. You have been able to get to see an overview of Finndemy digital learning platform, the different courses, and the reporting structure. I've also shown you the pricing. Any questions before we move towards the conclusion of the webinar? I'd be happy to answer any questions, either on the chat or by unmuting the mic. So I'm seeing a very good question here on the chat where someone says a traditional model of training provides opportunity for trustees to share experiences from different schemes. How will Finndemy provide such exchange programs? So one of the things that happens with Finndemy is that we will be able to organize periodic meetings, quarterly meetings, where the different participants are able to congregate and have a discussion together with the facilitator or the people who have been taking them through the different lessons. And that session would have two objectives. Actually three objectives. Objective one is to be able to answer any questions that the participants or people taking that course would have. Number two is for the trainer to be able to share any new or upcoming information, any new trends. And number three is for the participants to be able to share experiences, as has been mentioned there on the chat. So yes, there will be opportunity for participants taking a similar course to be able to meet up every quarter and share their experiences as well as ask any questions they may have. I hope that is well clarified. And thank you for that question. Any other question? Feel free to unmute or drop a question on the chat box. Any question around pricing? Any feedback about what you think about the platform? Feel free to unmute and share your thoughts or drop a chat. So we are inviting you to be able to test out this platform. And to be able to do that, we have a very simple onboarding process for the schemes that are interested in testing out Finndemy. Here's how the steps look like. One, all you need to do is to schedule a meeting with us where we'll have a sit down and look at your needs and assess the needs that you may have, as well as look at the different learning paths that are currently there or the need to customize a specific learning path for your organization. Once that has been done, you will then select members who you want to enroll on a specific course and submit a list of those members in terms of their name and their email. We will auto-enroll them in the backend, and each participant will receive an email with login details and the course they've been enrolled to. And from there on, they will have access to that content If it is paid up, they will have access to that content for a whole year. However, for this webinar and for those who are present, we have a special offer for you. If you are in this call and this sounds very interesting for you, and you'd like for your scheme to hear more, or if you're a decision maker and you can make a decision on behalf of the scheme, and you on board within this call, you will get full access to the platform for up to 90 days for your members. I repeat again, if you sign up today or register today, you will get full access to the platform for up to 90 days for your members. All you need to do is to head to your chat and put in your name. There's something there that is on your chat box that gives you an opportunity to register. Please click on it, put in your name, your scheme, or rather the name and the scheme type. So for example, if this is Finnet as an organization and our scheme is a DC scheme, I'll say Finnet DC scheme, and then the next section, I will be able to put in my name and how I want to be contacted in terms of phone and email. And with that, you have registered and secured your spot for full access to the platform for up to 90 days. So please feel free to jump in and register.
Thank you, Linus. Perhaps also to add something on it as the team are registering. My name is Godwin Simba, just in case somebody has joined in later. I'm the Executive Director at Finnet. Just to note that when it comes to learning and development, we appreciate that knowledge is always evolving, and at the same time, there are always scenarios where content has to be updated all through. So the Finndemy platform gives two pathways within which knowledge can be updated. One is the fact that the current content that we have will always be refreshed after every 2 years. So it means if there's a topic on investments, the same topic may not be similar after 2 years. And within that process, as the learners are being engaged, there is what is called the live sessions that will allow the learners, be it the members and the trustees, to be called in for a live session within which they can interact with the trainer and therefore update themselves and share knowledge and information as much as possible. That gives also a flexibility and agility for continuous update and development. The other bit that is also unique within this framework is that once the learner has been able to complete the session, a certificate is issued to the trustee or the member. And I know for some of us, we would ask at some point whether the same programs would be similar to a normal training that somebody goes offsite. And I'm sure when you go to offsite, there are a lot of costs that they are attributed to that. We do want to affirm that for every learning path that you would choose as an individual, that in itself will perhaps be equivalent to almost 8 hours of learning. And that 8 hours of learning would ideally translate into a whole framework where it would be similar to maybe a day of engagement. So if you do 3-4 learning paths, then technically you can qualify to have already gone for either a 1 week or 2-day program, depending on your in-house engagement. As mentioned by my colleagues, you'll also appreciate that the cost effectiveness of Finndemy would be that you'll be spending 20% of your current costs. So your cost significantly reduces to 20% comparative to a traditional either retreat, training, workshop, or a member engagement framework. And therefore, in terms of impact, it would also give you a tracker where you can see or assess who has learned, who has gotten a certificate, and how many people have actually joined. I want to encourage the trustees and also the sponsors or employers who are in this call that we see Finndemy as a joint collaboration between the HR or human resource officers and the trustees insofar as continuous professional development is concerned for both the trustees and also for the members. Case in point, we do have 6 courses on financial management. And I do believe that any HR who has a TNA, one of the TNA they have or training needs maybe to empower their staff on financial needs and training. But then you don't have the time to take all this stuff for a 1-week program outside the premises of the organization. So what does that mean? It means then you may want to look at a cost-effective way of self-study by this participant or the staff, but then you still get value by tracking the completion rates and also tracking value the individual to be able to ensure that there is an outcome that is also aligned to the needs of the organization. So we are looking at a scenario where we're making the work easier for trustees instead of going to physical engagement for the HRs in the event that you want to get value for money. Then also for the member, because members nowadays with their mobile phones, they can access everything. So taking those services closer to the member is what we are looking at. My colleagues have already mentioned that we are doing a pilot phase for up to 90 days, and we are happy to partner with you as an individual or an organization. You can sign up for free, give us feedback, and also engage with the platform. We do have at the moment 62 curated programs that are ready, and they are already embedded in the platform as showcased in the system. And all those 62 programs are live, and they are good to go in terms of deployment. We are looking at building up all the trainings up to almost 1,000 by the end of this year or early next year. But already there is work in the progress to increase the content to the level where we should be able to have a library of knowledge. And that library of knowledge will be helpful because then it continuously shows learning paths across different individuals or members and organizations. Finally, just to mention from my end is that if you are a trainer and you feel you have something to offer, or if you are a professional and you feel you have something to offer in terms of content to either members and trustees, it's also a chance for you to log into the platform as a trainer. Remember, Finnet in itself, its focus is to bring a network of financial professionals and consumers into one platform. And therefore, if you are a trainer and you have some knowledge and content, then you can be able to sign up as a trainer, and then we should be able to discuss which topics are relevant to yourself. You will come into our e-learning studio, which you have in our offices, and be able to walk through the process of curating that content, and that content is, of course, deployed into the system. It's also a way that you can be able to monetize your skill within the framework of a professional or a trustee who is certified to give you experience. So we welcome you to engage, and let's see how far perhaps it can transform our digital learning journeys within our organizations. Back to you, Linus.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute there. Thank you very much, Mr. Godwin. So I think the platform is clearly demonstrated. The value is clearly shown. We are happy to engage with anyone who'd like to know or learn more about the platform, either as a scheme or as a trainer. So feel free to reach out. Again, feel free to put in your details on the chat box there so that we can engage post this webinar. Someone says that the idea for digital capacity building is very noble and the way to go. More webinars are the way to go. Learning has taken place. Thank you very much, Reverend Gere. Thank you very much. And as we bring this to a wrap, and as we wait for anyone who has any other thoughts to share, I'd like to mention also that, as it was said earlier at the beginning, that one of our key areas is knowledge exchange through training programs that are both local and global. Allow me to briefly show you what is upcoming in terms of our training calendar. I hope my screen is visible. So we just finished a program in Mombasa in January around advanced trustee leadership and fiduciary excellence. In February, in the next 1 week, there will be a program in in Naivasha for portfolio management mastery and asset management strategies. This is one that will help you to look at your portfolio and look at the asset allocation and how to make sure that you're maximizing your portfolio. So we'd welcome you to attend, to sign up for that program. In March, we will have a program around risk management, enterprise risk management and pension audit committee excellence program that will be happening in Mombasa. And in March also, we'll have a program in Kisumu for board operation excellence and regulatory compliance. Those are the programs that are coming up between February and March. Of course, in April, there'll be a program around infrastructure and PPP investment strategies for pension schemes. We welcome you and invite you to be able to participate in those. Now, from a global point of view, we were in South Africa in January, where we had a very impactful program around Africa Infrastructure and Alternative Investment Program, where delegates were able to visit different projects, different pension schemes, engage with different fund managers in South Africa and in Botswana. In February, last week of February, we will have a Twin City program in Singapore, Malaysia. And the theme for the program will be global alternative investments, frontier markets, and sustainable returns. So we'll be able to take delegates to Singapore and Malaysia so that they can get an understanding and a perspective of the Asian investment landscape and the opportunities that are there, even for the 15% leeway that is available for offshore investments. In March, 21st to 27th of March, we will be in Shanghai, China, where we'll be having a program around mega fund management excellence. How do you manage a scheme that has so many members? How do you manage, how do you scale? How do you use technology? And how do you look at global investment strategies for such a scheme? So we'll be going to China to look at how to manage mega funds. Then in April, we will be in Denmark and Netherlands, again, a Twin City program, where we'll be looking at European investment excellence and strategic asset allocation and portfolio mastery from a global point of view. So we welcome you to sign in to these programs. We will be happy to provide any further information that you require, but again, feel free to drop your comment on the chat box before we close this webinar. Thank you very much. I'd like to hand over the meeting back to our director to close it up. Mr. Godwin, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Linus, and thank you for a good session in terms of moderation. And also, thank you so much to our participants who've made time to join us this morning. We want to appreciate We want to thank you for trusting in the brand. That's first, trusting on our services as Finnet, joining to hear our conversations, our stories, and what we are doing differently in the market. We want to believe that we are providing a value addition to the industry within the context of e-learning. Look out also for similar innovations that are coming through. There's one in the pipeline that we should be able to engage with the stakeholders in the coming few weeks. For now, we are building more in terms of financial literacy. Our focus is to reach to all the African countries in terms of e-learning and engagement, just to spice up the discussions around financial literacy and also enhancements of capacity building within the financial services space. So it's been a pleasure to have you join us this morning. Thank you very much from Finnet, and we want to assure you of our continued support. Reach out to us in case you want to have more information. We are happy to come into your trustee boards, to come into your organizations to demonstrate the learning areas and, of course, add value. You'll appreciate that. I end engagements in terms of different topics and conversations with also well-equipped trainers. Organizing this webinar and also running through the presentations, and to your organizations and also to everyone who has made time today to join us. Thank you very much and have a good day, and we wish you all the best as throughout this year. I want to wish you the very best as we bring this webinar to a close. Perhaps, Linus, you can close the word of prayer. I think that would be helpful.
Yes, indeed. Let us
Thank you very
pray.
much.
Let us pray.
Linus,
Yes, Prof.
Linus,
Yes, sir.
I have been here listening. I don't know what time I was supposed to say something, but if the session is over, I can just say Happy New Year to all our
Prof, the meeting has ended.
Happy New Year to all our members. Happy New Year to all members, and I also welcome them to this training. Thank you.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Prof,
Yeah.
you feel free to summarize your we
Prof,
reached out.
Prof, we can give you 2 minutes just to close it so that you don't feel locked out. I think if members can just buy 2 minutes, that's fine.
We need to hear from Prof.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to say that this is a very strategic move by Finnet, because it unlocks so many opportunities for them. Remember, most of the trustees, when we want them for a physical meeting, sometimes arranging for the meeting takes too much of their time than actually being in the real meeting. This is what we call asynchronous ways of trading, which means that when you have 5 minutes, you can go to the platform, learn something, then go back to their normal life. In physical training, it is different. So I find a lot of strategic advantages in using this platform, because even one of them is that sometimes you train board members, then also you need to train the secretariat, and also you need to train the administrators. And sometimes it just gets very complicated for many people. Sometimes it gets very complicated for many people. So for that matter, I believe that you can be very uniform to ensure that the information that flows to the board, information that flows to the secretariat, and any other persons that you work with as stakeholders is uniform. Therefore, you can be able to play as a team. Another advantage you have here is that, as I said earlier, I had Godwin explaining to them that you can go back, you have references there, your materials, and I'm sure that Godwin has told you that some of us who are in academia will be putting some content there that some of them you can access them within that platform as and when you want them. There are some videos I used to record, like 5 minutes on competitive advantage, 5 minutes on how to do stakeholder management, and you can benefit and benefit and benefit. So I want to say that I don't want to talk too long, because I've had a lot also from the team sharing. We are in it as a team. It's been done based on a bit of feasibility studies looking at the challenges that are facing the pension schemes now, and to take us to really, if you call it world-class world-class kind of pension trustees. When the president says first class, I'm sure that president cannot go to first class and leave the board of trustees at third world. So we also have to go with technology at that level. For that, very few remarks, let me say thank you for listening and look forward to engaging with the platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Your insights and thoughts are well appreciated and noted, and really thank you for making time to be available for the call. Asante sana, Prof. We look forward to more of your content on the platform. All right, with that, allow me to pray so that we can bring this to a close. Let's believe and pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning for granting us life and even granting us this opportunity to be able to share knowledge and be able to discuss and engage with each other. We ask God Almighty that you may help us even as we make decisions towards the betterment of the society, the betterment of our lives, that you may help us, Lord, to make the right decisions and even to be able to implement them. As we go on to the rest of the day and the activities that are ahead of us, we commit them into your hands and we ask that, Lord, you may lead us and guide us. For this we pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Asanteni sana. Looking forward to engage with you again.